Judge delivering a huge case against Donald Trump, dismissing 2 criminal counts against the former president.
Chanley Painter joins us with all the details. Hi, Chanley.
Hey, Todd and Carly. So the judge in the Georgia election interference case dismissing 2 more criminal counts against former President Trump, including conspiracy to commit filing of false documents and filing false documents. The judge ruling they fall under federal jurisdiction. Now, Trump's attorney posting, quote, President Trump and his legal team in Georgia have prevailed once again. A grand jury indicted Trump and 18 others more than a year ago on charges that they attempted to overturn the 2020 election result in Georgia. 4 defendants have pleaded guilty. Earlier this year, the judge dismissed 6 other charges against Trump. He now faces 8 remaining felony counts. Now, the case was thrown into limbo when an improper affair was revealed between prosecutor Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, the prosecutor she hired to help bring the case against Trump. Wade was later removed. Now, separately, a Georgia Senate committee is investigating allegations of misconduct against Willis related to conflicts of interest and misuse of tax dollars. But Willis's attorney confirming she will not cooperate or appear at the Senate hearing until there has been a judicial determination of the validity of the subpoena. Now, that Senate subpoena demands Willis turn over all emails and all texts between her and Wade, plus an accounting of all gifts or cash exchanged between the two and all communications with federal offices about the case. As far as that criminal case, the Georgia Court of Appeals paused the proceeding until October when it hears Trump's motion to disqualify Willis as prosecutor, guys.
All right, Chanley Painter live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And we're going to be talking about the Donald Trump situation here, where he has been, all of his cases have been dismissed as of what we've heard. At least the Georgia case has just been dismissed, and it doesn't look like a lot of these cases against Donald Trump are not holding up. They're all failing. And people are all going to say, like, oh, well, he's like got 34 counts. It's like, well, again, come on. It's like, Kamala, you have to understand this, right? A lot of those cases are being dismissed, removed, or etc. from the actual trial because they're not holding water. Clarence Thomas, the Supreme Court, kind of just laid it out pretty promptly here, saying, like, okay, you have to understand, this is not working here. Like, you have to understand this. Like, Jack Smith has not even been appointed on the right system, right? And he wasn't even elected for the right type of people. So again, when you have stuff like this, it goes to show that, like, you just don't know. And that's the only thing you were able to do, Kamala. You were only able to attack Trump and not the policies. And when you were asked certain things, it just did not go into your favor. But enough about that. We're going to be talking about more of, like, how everything is becoming dead in the water, specifically this case. Because now what we have is that Fani Willis may not actually even show up for the court case at all that is going off with Donald Trump, which is, questionable. It's like she's not even trying anymore. And it doesn't look like this case is going to be going too well. It looks like it's going to be dead in the water, falling down to the great earth, the crater where it belongs. And things are looking really, really good for Donald Trump.
To the latest on the election interference case against Mr. Trump. Today, a judge dropped 2 more charges against the former president, and in less than 12 hours, Georgia state lawmakers are set to hold a hearing looking to question Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis about the case, but she likely won't show up. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley with our 11 Alive political team joining us live from the state capitol, where that hearing is set to start at 10 in the morning. And Joe, this comes amid efforts to take Willis off the case completely.
That's right. And this Georgia State Senate subcommittee hearing wants to hear from Fulton DA Fani Willis, first on the election interference case here in Georgia, along with her relationship with one-time special prosecutor Nathan Wade. Willis is trying to block this committee's hearing subpoena, but nearly half a dozen judges have recused themselves already, citing conflicts of interest or potential conflicts of interest. Meantime, this is only bogging down Georgia's election interference case.
Yeah, so there you have it. Like, she's trying to, like, remove this and try to sweep it on the rug, but even, as he said, over a dozen judges, or at least a dozen judges, have pretty much recused themselves from the case because it says a conflict of interest. So if this is what's going on here, then what is with all these other cases that is happening across the board? You really have to critically think here, guys. Now, if all 4 cases were brought up against Trump, which is hilariously within like a year span of, all these cases before Trump was going to become president, it really makes you think, okay, so how many other cases that we have here that are bogus? How many of these cases are not really eligible, and what's going on? Because what we see here is that it's just not going well for Fani Willis. I don't know if she's not trying anymore. I don't know if she is really, wanting to continue this case. But every step of the way that she is going here, it's just not winning. It's just not doing anything in her favor.
Judge Scott McAfee dropped 2 more criminal charges against former President Donald Trump. Count 15, which accuses him of conspiring to file a fake certificate of votes, and Count 27, which deals with filing false statements about voters. The judge said state prosecutors didn't have the authority to bring charges dealing with federal court matters. Judge McAfee previously dropped 3 other charges against Mr. Trump, all tied to allegedly petitioning Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and the late State House Speaker David Ralston to alter or decertify the 2020 election. Mr. Trump's counsel, Steve Sadow, responded to the dropped charges, saying, quote, President Trump and his legal team in Georgia have prevailed once again. The trial court has decided these counts must be dismissed.
Every time that a defendant gets a charge dismissed against them, it's definitely a win for the defense.
I spoke with John Acevedo, the associate dean at Emory Law School. He says time and taxpayer money are stalling the election interference case.
It was always going to be a hard case to prosecute, and it's just getting even harder. Really now, Fani Willis is going to have to decide, is it worth the effort that it's going to take to continue with these charges?
A state Senate subcommittee called a hearing requesting Willis to testify to her relationship with the one-time special prosecutor over the Trump case, but it's likely Willis will not attend.
And yeah, guys, this is the reason why I think that she is just not doing well, or rather she doesn't care about the case too much anymore, just because, they want her to testify about the Nathan Wade situation, and again, she doesn't look like she's wanting to show. So what does this case even mean? If she's not going to show to testify about the Nathan Wade case situation and whatever, it really just shows that she's just not caring about this case anymore, right? It's just showing that that she may not just want this. And now you guys may think I'm kind of hypocritic myself or whatever, but I'm just trying to ask questions here because I'm no lawyer, and I'm thinking that perhaps it might be a good idea to show up to your case for something like this, right? And it's just all falling apart. It's falling to pieces. And again, this is showing more and more that this case is not going to go well. I mean, there's already been about 3 or 4 cases dropped already in this type of in this area already.
Legally, no effect whatsoever. In the court of public opinion, it may do her some damage.
As for Mr. Trump, his Georgia case remains stalled, as does the D.C. January 6 case, tied up over arguments of presidential immunity. A judge dismissed the Florida classified documents case altogether, and a New York jury convicted the former president of falsifying business documents, with sentencing coming after the November election.
And tonight we have reached out to the Fulton County DA's office for comment on the potential no-show for Fani Willis here at this state Senate subcommittee hearing. In fact, she's been advertised at a Congressional Black Caucus event in Washington, D.C. We also reached out to the DA's office for comment on news of these charges for former President Trump being dropped. We have not heard back.
Yeah, so it's just not going good. As you can see here, guys, the Georgia case is stalled, the Washington case is stalled, the Florida case was just outright dismissed, and then the New York case where she was just convicted, but that was also delayed back to past the November election. So I don't see to where everything is going. It's like almost these cases here that you see are not going in anybody of these Democrats' favor. Again, if you go and look at this, it's all the Democrats go bringing up these charges, and that is something that has to be mentioned here. And if this is the case here that we have, that all these cases are being, mostly, I would say 80% of these cases, 90% of these cases are being stalled or dismissed. It's not looking too great. It's like they don't have grandstanding at all, and all these things are going into Trump's favor, and I think later on we're going to have the New York case being actually moved pushed back, because I think the reason why removed entirely, because I think they knew that if they try to convict Trump and put him into Rikers prison or jail in New York, then you would have people just automatically wanting to just outright win the election, because people will then know it's like, okay, well, now this is just bad. Like, this is just a bad look. You're just jailing somebody and all that, and it's just not looking too good for them, because they see that, like, after all the things that they did to Trump, he just surged in the polls, and it just had a negative effect on them. And if you guys want to know if this is all biases or whatever, even Reuters is going on to saying Georgia judge dismisses 2 criminal counts against Trump, court filing shows. So it's pretty valid that this is going on, and Trump is in for another W. Can't wait to see what happens next. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted, because it's algorithmic disease, the social media.